Hello, San Diego, and welcome back to Bleav in San Diego Baseball, the podcast talking Padres baseball and just everything fun that has to do with baseball around San Diego. My name is Alex Miniak, your host, alongside the three-time MLB All-Star himself, Mr. Heath Bell. Heath, we've had a heck of a week so far. We're going to dive right into it. Let's talk about all the storylines around the Mets series. I mean, there are a ton of them, and it was great to start the second half of the season at home with all of them. What stood out to you right away coming out of the gate?
Well, I don't know if it's right out of the gate, but what is most exciting is our catchers decided to hit the ball, and our bottom of the lineup started swinging the bat and making contact. So that's just really exciting. How I expect Machado to hit, Tatis was hitting, Bogarts and Cohenworth and Jackson Merrill were swinging the bat and Arise, but all of a sudden the catchers, doesn't matter who was catching, it seemed like they were going to hit the ball and they were going to get RBIs. So it was great to see. Usually it's an easy out, so it was really fun to see.
It was great to see. I mean, we not only had a walk-off from Elias Diaz on Monday night, he had multiple RBIs in the series. Martin Maldonado in Wednesday's game with a couple of hits as well. Just really encouraging, taking great at-bats, not swinging at bad pitches, driving them to the spot. I loved it. Tatis's defense, we could talk about that too. Not one, but two robberies. One, robbing Mark Vientos at the wall of a home run. He comes back to get a grand slam later. I mean, yeah. We end up overcoming that too. And then another sliding grab on Mauricio later on in the same game. We know what Tatis can do at the plate, and he's got a platinum glove in right field for a reason.
Yeah, I really think the All-Star break was probably really good for Tatis, just to give it a little break. And he's starting to play like he did in April, where it was just like he was fun, having a great time, and he's loose and goose. And it was just good to see. And I think made the fans really excited. Anytime that he's joking around and having a good time, it's just a good time in San Diego.
Absolutely. And then you talk about Machado too. His 10th season with 20 home runs. Again, just padding that resume for the Hall. And now he ties the NL lead in hits. He has been on fire. I Bleav, if I'm correct, his batting average is over 300 as it stands going into the second half.
Yeah, I think it's over a little bit over 300. I think he's, before the season's end, I think everybody's got to see, he's going to be in the talks of MVP. Because he's pretty much carried this team when the team doesn't done well. And, San Diego loves him, and I think he's embraced. His probably hometown is going to be San Diego for the rest of his life now. So it's good to see, and it's fun to watch.
I think one of the things, too, that's really stood out to me, and especially I saw it in this particular series, is his leadership. He's been first one onto the field before introductions, and he's also been the last to walk off during the high-five rounds post-game after a win. I think it's really cool to see. It's infectious. It's spread in the clubhouse, and when he's on fire, the team's on fire. We're seeing a lot of that. And this series, of course, the sweep, it feels great to say that. Padres sweep. I got to say it this afternoon before leaving the ballpark. It was a lot of fun. And one other thing I got to note was Yu Darvish going 7 strong shutout innings and claims the most wins for a Japanese-born pitcher across Major League Baseball and Japan with 204. You're a former pitcher. That's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting watching him today. It's just kind of brings you back to the days that starters used to go 7 innings, and, most, not everybody, but they would pitch, about 6, 7 innings. And if you had a good day, you wouldn't give up a run and pitch 7 innings. And it was like, wow, pitchers can still do that, even if they're 38 years old. And Yu Darvish, he's a great guy, and him to have the record, it'd be awesome. And hopefully, he can keep checking on those wins.
I love it. The fans love you. They chant you. They always give us a big you. He got a big ovation coming out of today's game, too. So just fantastic. I mean, it's great to see him back on track for sure. Cardinals coming back in, split the series over the weekend in St. Louis. It was hot. It was muggy. It was the end of a 10-game road swing. It was a slog. What do you expect to see at Petco coming off this rebound against the Mets?
Well, I just see, go out and win the series. It's not a, yeah, you want to sweep everybody, but really at the end of the day, you're going to lose some games. Unfortunately, you just want to go out there and win the series, win the first game. It kind of makes you feel a little better than others. And, St. Louis in the trade market has been starting to trade some people. So, they're going to be a little bit different look. And, I see the Padres, way they're acting and way they feel. And I just think that little break helped them out. And they're just going to be probably, have a chance to sweep, St. Louis coming in. So it's just
Ooh.
when the Padres, when those guys, Machado is playing the way he does and leading the way he does, and Tatis is, having fun. It just seems like everybody falls into, route. I mean, look at the catchers are hitting the ball. So, why can't that happen, in the next couple of days?
Yeah, I don't see why not, really. I mean, it seems like the flag is up for the Cardinals. They're in sell mode. When we talk next, we will be past the trade deadline and we can look back at some of those trades, some of those meaningful trades, not only here in San Diego, but across the league, and see how that impacts what could be a much different NL when we chat next week for sure. Want to take a quick break here and switch gears. By the way, if you have not followed us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do that. Heath and I need more friends. Heath, we look pretty lonely up here, and we'd like to have more of the faithful checking out the show.
Yeah,
I know we'd love to have
people. I like people.
We love people. We love talking to people, and it's great that he and I talk to ourselves, but we want to be talking to you too and get some of you Padres super fans here on the show at some point. But first, we got to get you subscribing. Follow us again, Spotify and also Apple Podcasts. And don't forget, we got a website too, Bleav in SD.com. There's some exclusive content that we don't necessarily do on this show that's going to be on that website. Heath, I saw Happy Gilmore 2 over the weekend with my wife. I wrote up a little review. I'm not sure if you had a chance to see it, but spoiler alert, don't go there first if you haven't.
No, I saw it. I watched it at home over this weekend. So I think I've watched it twice already. So I think it's gonna one of those movies that gets funnier and funnier. You miss a few things, and the more you watch it, the more you get.
Ton of celebrity cameos. It's a great reunion. It's a good time. I love teenage humor. I'm always down for a fart joke or something like that. So count me in for the fun. We used to say back in the 90s, is this a go to the theater and watch or a good rent? This is a great rent. And it's great to grab a couple beers and sit on the couch and watch. And that's what I enjoyed about it for sure.
Start drinking out of everything you can possibly think of.
For sure. All right, real quick, let's switch gears to the Hall of Fame inductions. A great class going in this weekend in Cooperstown. A couple of memorable speeches. Dave Parker II reading a touching poem that Dave Parker, the Cobra himself, had wrote for himself going into the Hall of Fame, which is great. We'll post that on Bleav in SD.com. Again, BLEAVINSD.com. But what really stood out to me was Ichiro. I don't think I knew that Ichiro had the sense of humor that he does. And he burned a couple people in that speech, and I was there for it. I loved it.
Yeah, it was really funny because I think everybody was listening to Ichiro and everybody had a great speech, Billy Wagner, Parker. And it was Ichiro, him bagging on the one rider that didn't vote him in, just like Greg Maddux. And then Maddux didn't bag on him. And then him saying that he never knew who the Marlins were. That was kind of great because I actually found out he talked to the ex-owners there, and the ex-owners were actually like pleased that he was in his speech, even though he ragged on him. But yeah, it was good to see, and it was funny to watch. And I've known Ichiro a little bit here and there, so I knew he had some good humor, and it was great to see him, joke around and be a little serious and this and that. It's just kind of like when Ricky Henderson always talked in the third person when I was a teammate of his, and he was a Padre for a while, and he never talked in the third person during his speech. So all the people that knew him, it was kind of a letdown a little bit. It was a great speech, but it was a little letdown where Ichiro was just being him, being himself, and it was great seeing him, little jabs and jokes and this and that. It was good, a good time.
I obviously you got a different side of him knowing him. And for the fans like me who, I've never spoken to him, seen him play. I was blessed to see him play. Fantastic player. That's kind of a cool perspective. It's a little bit of an inside look of a player's personality. I mean, he never played he's a Mariner through and through. I know he went to the Marlins, but we never got to see the personal side because he never played here unless it was a road game. So unless you really knew him, you don't really get that personal sense. So I thought that was really neat. Another cool thing about this weekend, I thought, in Major League Baseball was the retro caps. I enjoyed that. I'm a kid of 70s, 80s, 90s baseball, collecting cards, watching on a 13-inch screen at home with the rabbit ears, trying to get the game in. And bright colors. You think about baseball, especially through the 70s and 80s, the powder blues, the oranges, the yellows, anything and everything that caught the attention of color television are the colors that I like. Those Blue Jay powder blues, the Royal powder blues, the Padres colors with the gold and the orange coming in, and that 84 era. I loved it. Did you see any cap that was perhaps your favorite that you saw over the weekend? Or what gets you nostalgic about baseball in terms of wears?
I like the old school, and I like all the bright colors from the 70s. So, my favorite cap is honestly, it's probably the 70s, the gold ones.
Yeah.
The brown and gold, those are my favorite. I mean, there's all different types, and I think I don't discriminate to any of them, but the brown and gold ones are probably my favorite. And it doesn't really matter which way you do it, just the brown and gold. That's kind of like, yeah, that's the history. So, the mustard color, the gold color. So those are my favorite ones, really.
Awesome. Well, we're going to have a chance for you coming up here. We're going to both do it. We're going to both participate. I know in the last show that I asked you trivia questions and you had to answer them. You were on the spot. I shone the spotlight directly on you, Heath. But together, coming up in our next segment, we are going to power rank Padres retro caps. And that is coming up next on Bleav in San Diego Baseball. All right. Welcome back to Bleav in San Diego Baseball. Again, I'm your host, Alex Miniak, alongside Mr. Heath, the three-time Padre All-Star. Heath, we were just talking about Hall of Fame weekend and everything associated with it. This year, Major League Baseball actually rolled out some retro caps for every team across the league. I thought a lot of them looked really great, including ours. We wore this, for an example, is my 2019 Padre cap, sort of the throwback brown for Friday nights that we wore. It's got this Mission Bell, Taco Bell kind of look on the crown here. This one's got the 50th logo there too. But in this style, we wore a very, very, very similar cap over the weekend. And that got me to thinking, we've worn quite a few caps, if you count all the alternates and all the colorways that we've had over the course of our 50-plus year history. Which are the best, or which one is the best of those? And we're going to power rank those right now. And I'm going to take the 6 home primary caps that we've known and loved up until the 2020 rebrand back to the brown and gold. So what we've got here is 6 caps. And I've given them all cute little nicknames, too. So if we have the OG, the 69-72 Colbert. We've got the 73-79 Winfield, or it could be called the Randy, whichever you prefer. We got the 80-84, the Garv. We've got the 85-1990 Gwynn, the 91-2003 Hoffman, and the one that is synonymous with Petco that I'm going to name after you, my friend, the 04 to the 2019. We're going to call that one the Bell. Heath, I'm curious. I know you're probably partial to one of these. Which caps are your favorite, and what order are we going to put them in, 1 through 6?
Well, honestly, it's kind of hard. If I had to pick one hat that I would always wear, it'd probably be the Winfield / Randy Jones, the 70s hat, 73, 79. And then it would probably have to be kind of the Gwynn and Hoffman hats, because that's kind of what I grew up with. Those were kind of the hats that I remember going to the yard, and Jack Murphy or Quocon, whichever you want to call it. before Petco Park owned up. And then, so in fourth place is going to have to be my hat because that's the one I wore. So it's kind of weird how I'm putting myself in fourth and not the top three. So that
Yeah.
But then I'm going to go with the Garvey hat just because the 84 team was so good. And I don't know why they switched it after that, but maybe just to sell more hats. And then you got to go with the OG, Colbert. It's just before my time. Let's just put it that way. I don't remember that. I really think if you're an old school and you're an old guy, that's probably your number one, or the Winfield, the throwback Browns that we have now. But I think it's your childhood growing up is probably where you're going to rank the top 2 or 3, So what about you?
I am very close to you, and we did not compare notes going into this session at all, this power ranking. Number 1 for me is going to be that Winfield / the Randy. I love it, man. You can call it the Taco Bell cap. You can call it the Mission Bell cap. Unfortunately, it's not the Heath Bell cap. Maybe you had a throwback night where you wore something similar, but that one's always my favorite. I love the different color crown. I think that's so unique to the Padres and just a cool look for baseball. When I saw that, it seemed like a perfect match this weekend over our road unis out in St. Louis. And number 2 is going to be the Hoffman for me. I love that. I love blue and orange, period. And I love that look. I'm a Gator. That's why I always love blue and orange. I always love blue and orange. But I just love that combination. And I remember 98. I remember being in college. I had a friend who was and is and will always be a huge Yankee fan. And I remember the Padres going the series, and I'm like, the Padres, we don't hear a lot about the Padres on the East Coast, but it was an extremely interesting and fun team to watch. And of course, Tony's home run at Yankee Stadium, I loved it. The look,
that was classic.
That was classic. And so that's going to be my number 2. The number 3, although you ranked it at 4, is going to be what we call the Bell here, which is the Petco cap, the blue and white. I'm going to say I'm a little partial to that because that's the hat I was hired under. So that one will always have a special place in my heart. When I came to Petco Park, it was blue and white and a little bit of sand that was still left over from the previous look.
Yeah, I like the sand. I miss it.
I like the sand. Again, it's a unique, that road uniform was again, a unique uniform across baseball.
You knew who was playing when you saw it.
Absolutely. Number 4, I love old school. I'm going back to the Colbert. I love it. Very simple. The block SD, the brown, very similar to what we wear today. So I love the connection between those two hats. Number 5 is going to be the Garv for me. I like the Bell, but it's not as fun as the original. I think the orange tends to throw it off a little bit. I know it's a series cap, but I just like it a little simpler. That's just personal taste. And then the last one is going to be the Gwyn. Certainly he's not last in anything, especially not in my heart, our hearts. But the brown and orange alone without the gold to me just never really spoke to me. And it was a short-lived era in Padres history in terms of looks. So to me, that one could be at the bottom of the stack. But you and I really, really, really close on this.
So did you know that it's funny because I don't know if the Padres knew they did this, but after the Garvey, if you look at the 84 hat and the 85 hat, the 85 and from today has the letter P in it. It's one of 2 hats in the major leagues that have 3 letters in it. Everybody sees the SD and you kind of see the P at the bottom. So I don't know if that was an error or if they did it on purpose, but secretly didn't tell anybody.
I like designs that have a little bit of a secret to
It's
them.
kind of like the Milwaukee Brewers. A lot of people don't know that it's Milwaukee. There's a B and there's an M.
Yeah.
So it's a glove.
Yeah, the Hartford Whalers, same thing. I know, different sport, but same thing. There's an H and a W in the Whalers logo. I love those little nods and those little touches in design. I've got a guy that I know named Todd Radom. Todd is a guy that has designed many logos across Major League Baseball, all-star logos, team logos, you name it. We've got to have him on here. He actually co-designed a logo for me last year, as a matter of fact. He is a living legend, and he would talk all day about this. But I do like that, and I do like that little toss or that little nod. Even if it wasn't intentional, it's super cool.
I bet you, because if you ever get your buddy on the show, it'd be pretty cool, but they'll make logos and they won't tell who they're selling what like all the little details that they do. So I get the person that made the new SD probably thought, hey, I could put P in there, but I don't have to tell anybody. It'll just be like my little secret, and everybody will think it's an SD.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's great. And we've had a lot of colorways and we've had a lot of looks over the years, and each one is special for its own reason, and that I certainly appreciate. And everybody, including listeners to this podcast, will have a favorite. And if you want to speak out and drop your comment as to which are your favorite, you want to rank them, again, you can go to BleavInSD.com. That is BLEAVINSD.com. And that's going to do it for Heath Bell and myself here. And you know what? We'll be back next week. We got 2 episodes coming your way. And we're going to be talking trade deadline. What happened? Who we got? How do they fit? Where does it work? And why are we rooting for them? We'll cover who, what, when, where, why, how, any question, and we'll do it next week. And of course, we're going to start hitting the stretch here coming up on the postseason. The race is on, Heath. I'm ready for it. You ready for it?
I'm ready because the Padres is a second half team. They've showed the last couple of years, so it's going to be a fun time in San Diego. Everybody's going to be cheering. Everybody's going to be ringing those bells, and the Padres are going to be rolling.
Yes, sir. I'm in total agreement of that. For the 3-time All-Star Heath Bell, I'm Alex Miniak again, and we'll catch you next time on Bleav in San Diego Baseball.